Coach Weaver, for the first time in 10 years, Bethany has posted back-to-back 500 seasons. What must this year's team do to finish not only with a winning record, but also make a run at a postseason appearance?
That's a great question, Kevin. Just out of curiosity, where did you go to school?
I'm a Bethany College graduate.
I thought that
we're looking for that postseason appearance.
This is an intelligent guy asking these questions. I love it. Well, as Kevin mentioned, we've had back-to-back 500 seasons for the first time in a very long time, and while that's good, and I'm not a fan of the phrase "change the culture," it's overused. But that's not what we're playing for. We're playing to win championships, and we feel like we've put ourselves in a position to compete for one this year legitimately and have a chance to do that. What we need to do to answer the question is to play a little more, with a little more maturity and a little more consistency. You know, Joe mentioned the parity in the league. You know, a lot of coaches will say, well, we're 7 plays away from blah, blah, blah. We were literally 2 plays from a 7-3 team in a possible postseason game, you know, in games that, and you say, well, we should have beaten them. I never say that. Those teams made the plays. The one-score games, the teams that make those plays down the stretch are the ones that win. And if we can make that switch from being, you know, 1 play or 2 plays away, if we can make those plays, we really feel like we have a chance to, you know, to compete for a postseason spot and legitimately for a championship.
We're actually going to ask you 2 more questions because the third one has to do with the second one. Question 2 is, the program welcomes 85 newcomers to the roster this season, coming from 12 different states. Bethany is always going to get a good amount of players from the tri-state area, but how have you and your staff been able to expand your recruiting boundaries to get players from states as far away as Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina?
Well, the general answer to that question is we've had our full-time assistants, Bill Garvey, our offensive coordinator, and Andy Upton, our receiver coach and assistant head coach, have been with us since we got hired. So we have a great deal of familiarity with our base, where most of our players are going to come from. We hired a guy last year named Jacoby Watkins, who's a University of North Carolina alum and played 2 seasons with the Miami Dolphins and coached high school football in North Carolina for a couple of years. He has a very deep network in the South and was able to reach out and find some guys that were good fits for us, and that you know, he was able to develop relationships with their coaches and with their families and bring them up. So the 12-state part is probably a tribute more to Coach Watkins, but the numbers and the overall, you know, recruiting numbers that we're hitting now are a tribute to the assistant coaches and our enrollment and financial aid staff and everybody that's involved in this, you know, this process that's Division III football recruiting. You got to find the right fit, you got to find the right financial stuff, and you got to make sure that you have the guys' majors, all the engineering guys that we don't get because we don't have it. You know, they're at other schools in the conference, so it's you know, you learn all that as you go. We feel like we've gotten better at it and are bringing in more talented, better fit guys to the program.
As we flip to the other side of your program, Bethany has 21 seniors on this year's roster, by far the most during your tenure. Can you talk a little bit about the role this class has had in helping the program improve from a 3-7 season their freshman year to this year's team?
Yeah, this class that, you know, I say there's not a lot of magic in this business. It's the arms race and the facilities. This senior class with 21 guys in it is the first class that saw our facility improvements finished on their recruiting trips, and that, to me, that's the whole thing. We made a commitment as an institution 6 years ago to do this correctly. It took 2 years to get the facilities finished to where we could bring families and kids on campus and say, look at our field, look at our locker room, look at what we have, look at our great academic traditions. And those guys came and they've stayed, and they're having 21 seniors, I think, is going to completely transform the attitude of our team in the locker room, on the practice field. And the class that Evan's in, the junior class, is just as big and just as talented and just as committed, and I think it's developed a lot more leadership in our program to where we're not counting on the young guys to come in and take those leadership roles. We have really good leaders in the junior and senior class.
Thanks, Coach. We're going to move to Evan now. Make sure you hold it kind of closer to your mouth. Evan, coming from a highly successful high school program such as Sarah Catholic that won WPIAL and PIAA championships, what was it that drew you to continue your education and playing career at Bethany?
Well, I was very fortunate to play on a successful team at Sarah Catholic. And when I was recruited by Coach Weaver, I really bought into him telling me that we're going to be a championship contender in 2 years. And that's one of the main reasons that I went to Bethany. And he's definitely right about that. And education part, I went to a small school, and Bethany's small, and you get that extra attention that you need for your academics. So that was a huge part of me coming to Bethany.
You're one of 4 returning starters on Bethany's offensive line. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is for that unit to have so many veterans returning, and what are some goals this group has coming into the 2012 season?
Well, our number 1 goal every game is to win every game. And it all starts up front with the offense. And we played a year together, we played 10 games together, so we feed off each other, we work together, and I expect a big year out of us this year.
Coach, we're going to go ahead and ask you this question, and it'll be the last question up here for you. As the PAC continues to develop into a strong, balanced league from top to bottom, you have upgraded your non-conference schedule with both Center and Randolph-Macon this year, teams who finished a combined 17-4 in 2011. Why the decision to play these types of teams at this stage in your program?
We were 17-4 last year. It's twofold function. I know when Coach Sirianni gets up here and Coach Hilbert, and they talk about who they're having to go play. I think our league, the respect our league is developing around the country. My phone rings a lot less for games than it did when I inherited a 3 in 2017 when we got hired 5 years ago. Everybody wanted to play us. A lot of teams don't anymore, so that's part of the deal. The other thing is we really want to measure ourselves against the best programs in the region. We really feel like a win over one or both of these programs will help our postseason cause. They're both highly ranked in the region in the South. They're going to figure in their conference races for sure. We've recruited a lot of guys from that Maryland, Virginia area, so we thought a game in Richmond, made sense for us to go down and play Randolph-Macon. So there were a lot of things that went into the decision. I would rather not have to play them both. I would like to play one and then someone more similar to what our other non-conference game has been the last couple of years, but it's just that's not reality anymore. I don't think people are lining up to play us or teams in our league the way they used to. I know there's a lot of long road trips coming up in weeks 1 through 3 for the guys in this room.